Hey gang, today we're going to do 3 country blues licks over a G chord. What's really cool about these licks is not only are they cool licks, but they can help you simply and seamlessly move from one position to another. So if you're looking for a way to mix up how you play and where you play on the fretboard, these might be just the ticket. All right, let's get to the licks right away. Here's lick number 1. Lick number 1 I call a descending sixth lick. I'll show you what I mean. Here's the lick. Now let's play it slowly. This lick is used all over country blues, all over them. But the most famous example, at least for me anyway, the one that is most well known to me, is on Led Zeppelin 2, the song Heartbreaker, between Jimmy Page's amazing opening part of the solo and then the main part of the solo. He plays a lick that's very similar to this to end the opening part of the solo. It's so cool, and it's always stuck with me, and that's why I use it so much. I use this lick all the time. Now, let's explain what's going on here. So I'm going to start out on the on what's called the C form of the G chord. Okay, so I've got a G right here on the 5th string, 10th fret, and I've got a G right here on the 2nd string, 8th fret, right? So if you play that, now I'm not saying that you do, we're going to do something a lot easier, but if you play that, that's basically, it's the same shape as if you played a C chord down here, and that's why it's played the C form. That's why it's called the C form. You don't need to know that. What you do need to know is that we're playing on the 2nd and 4th strings, or the 4th and 2nd. I always think of it that way. I'm not sure why. 4th and 2nd strings. So if you do that, just play those 2 notes. And we're headed down to a G7 right here. So we're going from a G7 here to a G7 here. Now you're probably familiar with that one. The root is on the 6th string on the 3rd fret. So the G7 that we're playing there is right in the middle. And if we just play the 2nd and 4th strings, we have this. So we're going from here to here. We just have to fill in everything in between. So how do we think about that? Well, I'd like you to think about the melody on the 2nd string. What we're doing is we're going like this. That sounds really simple, right? Let's hear it again. Now let's harmonize it with the 4th string. And that's going to work. So let's put them together. That's it. That's all there is to it. We're going from this G to this G and filling in some stuff in the middle. That's it. Let's go over the frets, and then we'll be on with the next lick. So we start out with, I'll just say D9, B8, then D7, B6, D5, B5, D4, B4, and D3, B3. Give it a little flair with a little vibrato in the beginning and slide into that first one. And you'll be styling. Here's lick number 2. Lick number 2 really uses the 7th of the G chord on the 3rd string. Let me show it to you and then I'll point that out. All right, one more time, a little bit slower. Okay, we're really going to follow the G chords this time. So again, going on our G chord that we played with before, we're not moving that one. We're going to play that 7th, which is in a dominant 7th. It's a flatted 7th, so that's an F. We're going to play that on the 3rd string, which is here on the 10th fret. So I'll start a little bit lower. I'll start on the 6th. So I'm going to start here on the 9th fret, and And I'm going to just pull off from the 7th. And I'm going to come to this one, but I'm going to do what the jazz players call encapsulation. I won't play this note directly, which is part of a G. Right? That's part of a G chord. But I won't play that. I'll play first this, and then below it, first above it, and then below it, and then the note itself. Jazz players do this all the time. They call it a fancy word, encapsulation. We don't need to care about that. It's just kind of cool. We'll approach it from both sides and then zero in on it, right? Okay, so that's the first part. So let's kind of go over what that is. It starts on the 3rd string, or G9, okay? And then we're going to play 10 and pull off to 9 and pull off to 7. And then we're going to do our encapsulation back to the G7. And now this little slide into our 6th. All right, so we'll start from the 8, slide to D9, and play B8, just like we did in the first lick. Now, if you want it, you can put a little cherry on top by playing this. Always a nice lick to throw in. So this is another chordal lick, but this is a slightly different one. Nicely bluesy. We're thinking about not this G chord, but we're thinking about this G chord. So yes, that's right. We have another G chord right here. This one's easy to spot. It's just like you're playing this G, and you're just playing the strings, the D, G, and B strings. Right? But now we're going to play them up a whole octave. Okay? And I'm not going to play all of them. I'm just going to play the first 2 strings. And finally, I'm not going to play them directly. I'm going to bend to the note on the 2nd string. Was that complex? I don't think so. Isn't that a cool sound? Love it. And then playing the G on the 12th fret on the G string. So that's the whole lick. Here's lick number 3. Lick number 3 is one of my favorite all-time licks. I love the sound of it. Sounds like a waterfall, kind of falling right down. Ends with a real nice arpeggio ending on the 3rd of G. Isn't that cool? Let me play it a little bit slower. All right, so what is going on that one? Well, we're going to start out with this idea of a G right way up here. See, that's a G on the 1st string, 15th fret, right? E15 is a G. So we're going to start out on the B string, 15th fret, bend that up a whole step, and then play the 15th on the 1st, and then bring it down, and end up on the 15th again. So that's fairly simple. That sounds really country too if you hold that bend while you play the 1st string. Now we're going to use that idea of encapsulation again. We're aiming for this note right here, but I'm not going to play it directly. What I'm going to play is the note above it, the note below it, and then slide up to it. Right? So on the 2nd string I'll play 13, then 11, and slide up to 12. At this point, I'm just going to go straight down. Here's a G chord, right? We already talked about this G chord right here. 12 on the 2nd, I should say. 12 on the 3rd. 12 on the 4th. I'm just going to slide down, or I'm going to drop down to the 3rd of G, which is right here. It's a B. Okay, so I'll come down to here, and then the B is right there. So I go 10, and then 9. This is all on the D string, the 4th string. Give it some vibrato. Really cool. Well, gang, I hope you enjoyed that one. There you go. 3 licks over a G chord, country blues licks. I hope you agree. They're a cool way to move between positions, and I think they're cool licks in and of themselves. All right, until next time, we will see you on down the road.